Welcome to a new episode of Voices of Harmonia. This is the third episode, and today we will talk about law of time. My name is David Karlsson, and I don't know so much about law of time. I checked a little bit on YouTube, but we have three speakers here today from the three different countries who are experts in this area. We have Remy Balogun. Say hello, hello, hello. Remy.
Hello. Hello.
We have Rosario.
Hello, everyone.
Zepeda.
Hello.
Very welcome. And Stephanie Hamod.
Hello.
Which countries are you in now? Can you tell the viewers?
I'm from the
Stephanie?
United
I'm from
States.
Democratic Republic of Yoruba. Oh, sorry. I'm from the Democratic Republic of Yoruba.
Okay. So we have Africa. Rosario, where are you from? Where are you now?
In California, United States.
Oh, yeah, we have the America. And Stephanie, where are you at
I'm
this?
currently in Lebanon, so we've got the Middle East, Asia. So yeah. And you, David?
I'm in Sweden, in a small city called Nyköping. Yes. Heja Sverige.
Nice.
Yes. Okay. Remy Balogun is working with empowering women, to gain self-love, self-realization, to discover their true self. Stephanie is a coach working with intuition, energy, and also quantum healing. Rosario, actually, I don't know so much about you, but I want to hear a little bit from you. What is your interest in life?
Art, really. I would, I do a group of I work with a group of artists on Saturdays and well, every day. But really, I would say that I'm an emerging artist in
Okay.
life.
Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing. And let's go. Let us hear about law of time.
Where
Okay.
should we start?
Well, let's start by what got us into it, I would say. So for me, law of time is a way to reconnect with natural time frequency. When we look at our calendars, we've got like the months are not where they are meant to be. We've got October that is meant to be, Oct is 8, but it's actually the 9th month. We've got September, which is meant to be 7, but actually it's the 9th month. I mean, things are 8 months. Things are a bit all over the place. Sorry, I got these wrong, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, but you see, you mean that time is not linear.
Exactly.
So
And
something has happened with time.
something has happened with time. Our calendars have been played with, and we are disconnected generally with our lifestyles. Our modern lifestyles, we're very disconnected from the cycles of nature. So my way into all of that was to re-understand and reconnect with the cycles of nature, and also to use this as a gateway to expand my consciousness and to connect with higher dimensions by understanding myself and by connecting and synchronizing with natural cycles.
Okay, well, can you tell the viewers, why should you reach higher dimension?
For evolution.
For evolution. But why do we need evolution?
Because we're here on Earth to grow, to learn from our lessons, to sort out karma if we have karma to sort out, and also to expand our consciousness. Earth is the playing ground for this, and we're here to learn our lessons, to grow, expand, and reach higher realms of consciousness. It's the best playground, really, from my point of view. Remy, Rosario, please chip in.
Yeah. Because I believe what you just said is true, because When we look at time, time is linear. Actually, it does not really exist when we are looking at it in the mathematical form. It does not really exist. We are just time believing to be energy, and we have to live consciously according to our programming. So when we're talking about evolution, we're talking about the way we see ourselves. It's not like we're taking a degree from knowing something, a concept that we believe in, and then we are evolving. We are going from examination to examination. No, what we meant by evolving is just the phenomenon of understanding oneself. At what stage are we in? Because we cannot determine our own stage, but we do believe that there's a certain thing in our own life that changes. So how do we live in this kind of change that is happening right now within ourselves? When you say you understand yourself, is by you understanding the phenomenon of life, which is the tools you use to understand it. So when we're talking about the tools, then the law of time comes in. But the law of time is not the clock that we set in our house or the wristwatch we have in our hand. It's just a radial way of thinking and where we are going to, because everything is it's actually within us, it's living within us, and there is nothing we can do to kind of bring it out ourselves, but it's the way we live within ourselves and the change within ourselves that tells us that, okay, we are evolving. Nobody tells us that we are evolving. We must know ourselves. We must know ourselves because it's actually there. What we're doing is opening it, bringing it out in the open. So what the tools we need to actually reopen or remember what was already there are the tools the law of time is giving back to us. So that's where the Maya calendar comes in. That's where the synchronotron comes in, the teletonon comes in. A lot of other tools that can actually open up what is already stagnant to open it up for people to understand.
Okay, thank you.
So that's why the law of time comes in.
Thank you. So it is a tool. It's gaining some consciousness, what we already have. And by gaining a higher consciousness, we can discover ourselves, our true selves or something, and maybe gain more happiness, more connection, more love, etc. Is that
And
correct?
and our connection to nature and to the natural cycles that occur, in time. And farmers follow it very naturally, but as modern time has made us kind of move a little faster, do things, keep up with schedules and other things, we become more and more separated from these natural cycles of time. And so then we become more unhappy, and we don't know why. Oh, well, because I'm separated from the way a tree breathes, from the way I breathe. It feels very separate. It feels very far. But if you slow down and you feel like, oh, wait a minute, we're actually a lot more alike, the way that we move. And it can be very detailed when you move into studying the law of time, like, because there's so many precise details about it. But at the same time, it's very what's the word? It's very easy to follow because it's in our body. If it shows us that it's more than just keeping a record of time, but it's in how we move, how we
So
move in our life.
maybe how we sleep. Can you take away 7 months of cold and darkness in Sweden? Just a joke.
Right?
But, actually, maybe for us in Sweden, we should slow down because we have, we have different times of going to bed and going up. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. We have set some core. Okay, Stephanie, go. I see you want to say something.
Yeah, we can share and show a bit to our speakers how it looks like for the readers who are not familiar with, viewers who are not familiar with it, just to give a bit of an idea. And what I really like about it is that it's really multidimensional. We can access it in very different ways, depending on where we're at each and every single point. So we can just look at the cycles, let's say, of nature. We can look at the female cycles. We can look at broader cycles of 5,000 and something years. You know, everything fits in really. And keeping track of this gives us this time consciousness and allows us to understand where we're coming from and where we're going. So a whole area also part of law of time is called the cosmic history and cosmic history chronicles. So trying to reconnect with the memory circuits of our lost worlds, of where we're, of our origins, and help us bridge into higher dimensions also, reconnecting with our, let's say, star families and more advanced, family, let's put it this way.
Is this a tool and a knowledge to maybe help us change society? I'm thinking for the female cycle, maybe they have to also slow down and be more nurturing. And I don't know, but I'm thinking it should be like that. Not work 8 hours and then come home and cook and da 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 and stress, stress, stress. Is it correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And you know, this
Yeah.
is very much alive still. So this is something, you know, that in world history terms, if you want to talk about worldly, you know, it's an like ancient Mexican, you know, but really the Maya is more of a galactic, you know, society, you know, so it just happened to be in that part of the world, right?
Mm.
And but still it's very much alive. A lot of communities still use different types of timekeeping cycles in Central and in America and Mexico. Yeah.
So we have to go back to the
Yeah.
original knowledge to become, because I see we are not totally happy by pushing ourselves when it's not the right time. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So interesting. We continue.
Yeah. So what we actually how we can, I was able to continue to do a lot of all these calculations because the Mayan how do I call it? The Mayan system of time corresponds to the Yoruba system of time as well. We follow the 13 moon as well in the Yoruba side. So I was able to put the two together and work with it. And I was able to send the message out to all the Yoruba community that this is how it is, the time that we're supposed to follow. In the ancient days, our grandfather followed this time for harvesting. Our mother followed this time for their cycle. So it's a time, it's really very, how do you say, it's expanded. It's not something that is just small, it's a big thing. So we were able to work with it. I was able to work with it with a group of people here in our country because it really helps. It corresponds with our own time. It corresponds with our own spiritual context as well. Even someone that is not spiritual can actually start to use it as a daily tool for themselves. And when they use it as a daily tool for themselves, when they use it, they can reprogram their life unknowingly to them because that thing is in them actually. And then when they follow certain tools to use, they will find out that there's a reset in their programming, but they will not know it is a reset. They will just think, okay, I'm living a life that is worthy, that is worthy of living, unknowingly to them, just by changing little things in their life, and there's going to be a reset, like a building block, setting itself back. You know, the subconscious mind takes it and then takes it like a puzzle and then put the missing puzzle back in place, just by following the step-by-step rule of the everyday calendar, following it accordingly.
Yeah, because it makes you think about time in a different, you know, you don't really realize how much how we think about time like affects our mind and affects the way that we live. And then you know, also studying in a community, you know, learning in a group it also kind of wakes up this collective memory that like, oh, wow, like I'm not just this random floating individual. I'm connected. I'm connected with all these other consciousness, and we're here moving at this time because we're doing something where, you know, there's an order, there's a beauty to all of this movement.
So let's show a bit of this beauty. 13 moon calendar, Remy, you were talking about it.
Yeah. So the
So
13 moon calendar. Yeah.
go
It
ahead.
has 28 days every moon, and there is a 7-day episode with 7 days and 4 episode, which is 4 weeks. So you have 7 days times 4, which is 28 days. And then in that 28 days, there's a wave spell. There's a wave spell, 13 days wave spell. And sometimes it has 2 wave spell in a month, or it goes to the next moon. So there's a wave spell, there's an episode, there is a moon, a full moon, sometimes 2 full moon in one moon. So it's a real unified moon. Each moon, 13 moon is, how do I say it, is always complete.
Okay.
There is no breakage. There is no chaos. There's no outbalancing. Everything is balanced. There is no underbalance. There's no overbalance. So when you follow the days, and there is always an archetype for each wave spell, radial plasma for each day. So when you wake up in the morning, for example, when I'm sending out my code to a group, because I have a group here in Africa, when I send it out to my friends, I'm sending the body Olon, the planet Olon. I'm sending the archetype of the day. I'm sending the planet of the day. So I'm sending all the fingers, the toes corresponding to the brain. So I'm sending all this out because it's about you, a new you, every time you see this code. So when you read the code, when you start a day and you read the code, you read your mantra, and you read the mantra of the day, there is a new program that is reset in the brain. A new experience is set in the brain. So when you continue, it's a cycle. When you continue this every day and you complete that cycle and start all over again, you are reprogramming your life unknowingly, reprogramming it to be balanced, because it was out of balance following the other calendar, the 1260 calendar. But when you begin to follow the 1320 calendar, this calendar, when you begin to follow it, there's a reset in the brain, and you're going back to the way you're supposed to be programmed. We are a collective. People forget we are collective. So what it does, it connects us to every other individual telepathically, unknowingly to us. So when you complete the cycle, the more you follow these steps, and you complete the 13 moon, the 260 days, and then you start all over again. You follow the same process. There's a reset that is happening in one's life, you know, and you complete it again. You complete the cycle, you follow it again. It's harmonic in nature. So there's harmony with yourself, with all your cells, with your DNA, with everything that is within your body. There's always a reset. There's a reprogramming happening in your life.
Yeah. Remy, but for the viewers now, they are living their lives, working 40 hours per week, doing the chores, doing the laundry, doing the training. They are living accordingly. I think the most of them are living to the Gregorian calendar. Okay, I'm thinking, can we give the viewers something about how to go from their past life to this? And I also have a add-on. Could it be so you reprogram it to discover something, a higher consciousness, and when you act accordingly in the synchronization of the time, you also attract more, because you say to the universe, I'm worthy of this. Could it be like that? This? Okay.
Yeah, really well said.
Yeah, okay. Go on, Rosario.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah, really well said. I think because really you want to think about it that, yeah, it helps to deprogram all of, because time, you can think of, the way we think about anything, like the way we think about time is like we have a time chip, right? Which is full of our conditioning. And when you start to follow simply like, oh, today is March 17th, but it's also the 11th day of the solar moon. So you start to, oh, okay, so anything else associated to March 17th, it starts to kind of unwrap, and you decondition, and you become open to a more natural way of connecting with yourself and with others.
And with the universe. Yeah.
And the universe, yeah, of course, because that's part of the natural. And then you see a lot of red, white, blue, yellow. That's another very simple, the 4 directions, the 4 elements, 4 ways of movement. So you could say, the first week of the moon is always uh, a red color, and the red represents the east. It's on there. It's starting something, starting a project. White represents thinking about it, refining, maybe polishing the details. Blue, maybe a little more action, getting to do things. And then yellow, the week, where you start to see the fruits of of the project that you started, is one good example of a simple way that you could think about the colors and think about the days, because one day could be red, white, blue, but you're also in like right now we happen to be in a white week, which is more about reflection, thinking about what the projects we're completing this moon, meditation, things like that.
Thank you.
And
I just thought, where does this come from? And have we used it in other civilizations?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's very much I think any civilization that has been connected to earth, to farming, to the divine feminine, acknowledging the cycles that we carry within. This is not it's a matter of remembrance, is what I like to say.
Yeah.
How I like to, it's a matter of remembrance.
Thank you.
many Native American cultures use a similar calendar also, and they use the turtle. The back of the turtle has all of these numbers on it. So if you count the things, I don't know what they're called
The
exactly.
shells,
Exactly,
yeah.
it will have these numbers. And this is very simple. It's bringing us to some patterns and to harmonia. It's a harmonic. It's exactly that. It brings us to something that is cyclical and that we can connect with, and that comes back and repeats year after year, month after. It's very, very consistent.
Yeah.
We can find it in our body, in the female body. So this is a cut of it. This is made of the 13, they call them lunar tones, and then solar seals, 20 solar seals. So the ones that we see here, they're like little characteristics, and you have like archetypes. They have their shadow, they have their light, and they help people understand who they are. And then the numbers also have specific characteristics. And so having this is a cycle of 260 days that fits within this cycle as well. And that gives an idea. It's the same as a human gestation, actually, of a pregnancy of a woman, And it's beautiful to see that these things are not random, How come a woman pregnancy is about 260 days? Well, because this is how nature is, because it's represented in our body as well. In our 10 fingers, 10 toes is 20, and then our 13 joints in our body, our ankles, our knees, our hips, our wrists, elbows, shoulders, and one neck is 13. So it's basically, there's different ways to connect with those galactic codes, to connect with those numbers that have been given. And we'll come back to your question, David, about where are these coming from. But just to explain that they are not something that were just downloaded out of the blue. They are actually present in nature, and it's our way of remembering them and embodying them within ourselves and within the earth as well. As we can see, there are lots of ways to engage with it. And I think Rosario was saying earlier that you can go as deeply or as shallow as you want, especially when you start with this. You can also imagine them all around you. You know,
Yeah.
it goes to infinity, really. And we're not going to go into too much detail. Sorry, Rosario, you wanted to chip in here?
Yeah, I just was gonna say, you know, like a good way to start is knowing your kin, because that's kind of like a key, you know, like an activation key where you start, you know, a lot of us, you know, what is it? What do you call it? An astrology, right? Your sun sign and all of that. That's similar to that. And that helps you to connect, you know, in a way with that memory. It also helps you to connect, you know, and detach to like, I'm not just this yellow warrior, because every day the kin changes. So every day I'm a new kin. And every day this kin teaches me something about how to move or how to, you know, how to share, whatever, you know, whatever the message is.
Thank you. Stephanie, you said something about the shadow. Just to explain for the viewers what it's not a shadow, it's something else. When you're talking about discovering the shadow.
So basically, as Rosario said, these are like, if you want, similar to astrological signs or something. And they will have their own characteristics and how you will be, let's say, when you're at your best, and also the things that you have to work on or be conscious of that could be triggering for you, especially for you, and in special energies. So we can go into more, you know, this helps us understand energy, understand why we can be more sensitive on specific days, and why things are happening in a specific way for us, because the way that an energy of the energy of the day is, for example, will be a combination of all of these. And so you will understand that if it comes up to be, let's say, an energy that is actually a bit of your antipode, you may be more sensitive and you may be clashing a bit more with people because your energy is a bit heightened, and you may come across this a bit more. So, you know, then you'll be like, oh, okay, actually, I understand that today is this day, and therefore I understand that I can be triggered, and therefore it gives me the, okay, I know that I have to just step back. It's just going to pass. And I can just, you know, take responsibility for my actions instead of just going in the flow and reacting. So it really helps us be more actors of ourselves, of our days, and take responsibility for who we are as humans.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you want to show something more, or should I go to questions?
There was one other thing that we wanted to show in terms of the Earth, but I think we can start to talk about it and then we can bring it on. A key element of this is also the transition of the biosphere to the noosphere. So we're going to explain a bit what all of these terms are. So basically, we can imagine okay. It comes from the principle that everything is a whole. Every single cell in our body contains the whole. And if we look at our if we get to know ourselves, and I think Remy is doing a lot of work in this field with the people around her to communicate this to people and to empower them to understand who they are, then really when we understand who we are, we're able to think a bit more about outside of us, about the rest of the people, about nature, and about the earth, and then about the cosmos. You know, it's infinite, but we have to start somewhere. And generally, starting by ourselves is a great way before just venturing out into the wild. So when we start to look at ourselves, understand ourselves, and so on, and look at the earth, we're actually made in similar ways. Like we have a mental, let's say, a mental body. The earth also has a mental body, and so it has different bodies. So the biosphere is one of the bodies that surrounds the earth. It is, if you want, you know, you've got the atmosphere, you've got different things, but outside of the atmosphere, imagine that you have something called the biosphere. And then what we're doing here is starting to work on the mental element of the earth, the mental sphere around the earth, in order for it to start growing in consciousness. So planets evolve as well as individuals do, as well as everything else does. You know, there are cycles, there are different evolution rhythms, but yeah, the earth is not any different to us. And so by activating ourselves, by working on downloading these codes, these frequencies, we are helping build this mental layer and this consciousness layer around the earth in order to get to more unity. So we are very disconnected from, well, one, ourselves, but also from the people around us, from nature, and so on. And what we're trying to do here is to activate this consciousness, activate this unity and this wholeness around us in order for the earth also to evolve.
Thank you. So the mental is the noosphere, and the more material is the biosphere. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And who are we going to? Where did it come from? Just from the blue, or from someone, or somebody, or yeah, from space?
Well, which part are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about biosphere and noosphere is connected to this knowledge. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
Or is it too different, or am I? Help me here.
Yeah, actually, when you're talking about where it came from, see, the knowledge was already there for a long time. And I came across it, I think in 2020. I think that's when I met Rosario. It was something like, oh, it has been there, but it was just sleeping and it was awakening for us.
Okay.
So that journey, we started with Law of Time with Stephanie Stout at that time. And then she brought up the knowledge from the Maya and the books written by Jose Arguelles. And we were able to, she was able to explain it to us and open our eyes to a lot of things. So if a layman want to start this journey, want to start for the first time, is starting with, first of all, knowing your galactic signature. So knowing yourself first, before you can extend any knowledge to anybody. So your galactic signature first, and then the energy of the day. That's when this formula comes in. T, open bracket, E is equal to at. That is time. You are time, believing to be energy. It is equal to the energy of the day. So when you say your own mantra, you say your own mantra of your galactic signature. I am kin 204, for example, yellow solar seed. I say my own mantra every day within myself. and I say the mantra of the day, I say it out loud. I'm connecting to the energy of the day so I can renew my programming.
Okay.
So it has become part of my life. So renewing the programming starts first of all with your galactic signature. So for the step of a law of time, you start with your galactic, start with yourself first, your galactic signature, and then the energy of the day. So as the day goes by, you're reprogramming yourself, reconnecting yourself. So for a layman who doesn't know anything, that is still in the stadium of unconsciousness, does not have any idea of what is going on, the best place for the person to start is what I just said. Galactic signature, the mantra of the day is our own mantra connected together. That is the first step. That is the first baby step. Anybody, even a 7-year-old can take, because I teach that to my children like this.
Good, good. But if we are going back to Biosphere, Noosphere, so we are doing this. We are going back to the law of time, which comes from Jose Arguelles. He perhaps was a Maya in past life, and then from space, I presume, I don't know, maybe Pleiadians and like this. I
you're right
shiver,
on
so
it.
it's usually right when I
So
say.
the ancestral,
Okay,
the
but
ancestors.
to take it down, to take this frequency down, he was the ambassador for this, to elevate the Earth's magnetic field, going from the biosphere, maybe going to the noosphere, and we are evolving because our evolution is going from a materialistic biosphere, I presume, to the noosphere, which is more quantum-based. Quantum is more the small sub-particles of who we are. Okay? Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
They
so
are going from
also,
the.
oh, go ahead.
Okay, no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, so one of the meditations when we're doing, your mantra meditation is, I am one with the earth and my mind are one self. So meaning, acknowledging the earth is alive, the earth has her own consciousness and we're part of it. And as we're evolving, the earth evolves too. And so that helps me to, there's a lot of complex ways to explain it, but I feel like that's a very good summary of it.
Good. I have one more thought. So when we are using this, we are connecting also with other brains in the noosphere. And it's a much quicker way, I presume, to elevate our consciousness, our collective consciousness. Is that correct?
Exactly.
You should understand the biosphere as being the materialistic side with the technosphere, but the noosphere is more advanced in telepathic communication. So telepathic communication happens to do with your higher consciousness, because you are changing your whole concepts of being in the technosphere, biosphere community. You know, understand? Because we are now, what we are doing when we activate our electromagnetic field by being conscious of ourselves and understanding ourselves is creating a gateway to the noosphere. So it's like we are like throwing something into something that is there, or you don't know is there. Yeah, totally different from the biosphere that we are living right now. You can see when you become conscious of yourself that you become, you forget a lot of things, or you leave a lot of things in the past. You know, maybe you are the guy that goes to the karaoke every time or go to the discotheque every time. When you see that you are awakening your consciousness, you tend to leave that behind you and live another life totally different from what you're used to. So the biosphere of your own environment is changing. So unknowingly to you, you are going to the noosphere. You don't even know where you're going to, but I think you're going towards that direction. When you begin to drop some certain things that does not add up to your life, even some material things that you think you can accumulate before does not mean a thing to you anymore. So you dropping from there, unknowingly to you, you are going to the noosphere. So the noosphere is already there. We are there already when we change consciousness, when we change our mentality, our way of thinking, the mindset is changing. And then we are communicating telepathically with one another. Then you are actually in the noosphere. If you can communicate telepathically, if I can communicate, David, if I communicate with you telepathically now, without using the Zoom, and then you feel me, you feel what I'm saying, then we're actually already stepping into the Noosphere. We're actually in the Noosphere because we collectively must be able to communicate with each other telepathically in order for us to gain the Noosphere.
It's so good.
So
I have so many thoughts.
Yeah.
Sorry if I interrupted you, but maybe I have two things I want to add. Maybe Zoom is training us to becoming more telepathic in the Noosphere. Yeah, just one thought. And I had one example of the Noosphere today. I was going up with my girlfriend in the morning. We had some breakfast and, you know, coffee, but she went to work and I had the opportunity to sleep a little bit. And then a voice in my head said, from her voice, you know, said, you, like she's going to tell something. And and she called me and I said, I just want to tell you this and this and this. So when she had the thought, she wanted to call me because that was the Noosphere. It was 100% telepathy. Telepathic. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So internet is some way can train us if we use it in a constructive way to becoming more constructive in the Noosphere. And I'm thinking also if we are going from the Biosphere evolving to the Noosphere, maybe as you say, we get different urges, different motivations, maybe not bodily motivations, but maybe more mental, more soulful motivations. Just my thought. Okay, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. And if I can add to this, at this stage, when we have noospheric consciousness, we're not just talking about humans, you know, we're talking about the whole system of life. And we're considering it's really systems thinking, but at a way bigger stage that is currently being considered. We're also talking about everything that constitutes this. And if you look at more advanced civilizations, I mean, some of them that we are aware of, they control, let's say, their things with their mind, whether it is their spaceship and so on. There is this consciousness connection between the two, and this can only be done when we get to this stage of noospheric consciousness, of telepathic communication, of whole systems thinking. And when we get to this stage, we're actually making decisions for humanity, for planet Earth, and so on, that take everything into account, not just the egoistic, individualistic, or, you know, view, and the whole, you know, you have to really think at this stage that politics are completely done differently. Everything is done in a completely different way. And as we start to change and to tune into these vibrations slowly, as we're building up the noosphere, this level of consciousness will be there. And it's super exciting. And this is where we think, you know, and the talks about AI being sentient, well, it can only be done in a purely noospheric consciousness state where everything is a whole system functioning together.
Thank you very much. I think we have something very well, a red through the whole program. I'm going to conclude soon. Is there anything more you want to add? Stephanie, do you have something?
Yeah. Well, I would like to just share something from José Arguelles, if that's possible, just to quote. And that represents really the essence of, you know, the interest of getting into this. Apologies, here it is. Okay. So time is sacred order. Artificial time as a form of institutionalized disharmony is out of order. All our suffering stems from being out of order with nature, God, and the source of all sources. To return to natural time is to reorder ourselves and come into harmony with nature. So that's what I wanted to conclude with.
Thank you very much. A beautiful text. Thank you, Rosario. Thank you, Remy. Thank you, Stephanie.
You're welcome.
And our technician, I want to mention his name, Jurai, also. Yes, thank you very much. And we are concluding here, and there will be more episodes, because here in Voices of Harmonia we are unifying knowledge. We are giving knowledge and unifying knowledge. That's why I'm talking to, if we take this and put it together with this, can we put this together with this? That's why we are making a whole holistic view of everything, from the micro to the macro. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you
Exactly.
all very
Thank
much,
you.
and hope to see you soon.
Thank you,
Thank
David.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.